Although emotion has been classified as the 9 rasas, I think there is far more to it than just this classification, because you can have overlapping combinations, you can have degrees, you can have a lot of secondary and tertiary emotions that combine one or more of these primary rasas. And in fact, if you go to the psycho-evolutionary theory of how emotion has developed, Robert Plutchik has some very interesting research on this, and he talks about the 8 primary, and then there are more secondary, and there are even more tertiary emotions which combine one or more of these primary and secondary emotions. And you can have 42, 48 tertiary emotions. And I think what is interesting is that based on the semantic content, based on your mood, based on the situation, based on the environment, based on the ambience, you can actually derive a lot of subtle shades of emotion. And yes, while they are still classified as one of the 9 or one of the 8, you can actually go far beyond just love. For example, there can be romantic love, there can be love for a child, there can be love for your parents, there can be love for a guru, there can be love for God himself, right? And each of this is still love, but there is so much semantic and so much content in terms of the emotional change in each of these expressions that I think it is worth taking a look at what the shade and what the minutia, what the subtlety involved is. And so having a story that you can relate to, that has a lot more parameters than just saying A falls in love with B or A is angry with B. If you have a story behind it, if you have a much more detailed description of the characters involved, then I think it makes it far more identifiable from an audience perspective to that shade of the emotions, rather than just putting it as one big bucket. And so when I compose it, these are compositions that are inspired by events in my own life, and so there is always a story. And so when I tell the audience that story, they can now relate to the precise shade and the intensity and sort of where on that spectrum of emotions this emotion lies very precisely and feel it. So I think that is the way I would think about rasa.
का